Most Indians who dream of Germany imagine one thing: stability, right? A safe country, strong systems, clear rules, predictable justice. But here is the irony: we come searching for structure, yet we don't fully understand the legal system that keeps its structure alive. I mean, we don't need to be a lawyer for that, but the basics are very important. So today, in this episode, I'm going to ask some interesting questions to Mr. Lugani, a senior lawyer from our Indian community living in Germany, born and brought up here for last several decades. He is practicing law and he has so many stories, interesting as well as scary stories to tell. But whatever it is, it's very informative, very insightful, and I'm sure you will be hooked till the end. Siddharth, welcome again. This bank account opening, which is tied to the Anmeldung itself, right?
Sure. Without Anmeldung, there's no bank account.
Correct.
Because the bank needs you.
I see and hear a lot of trouble with regard to this because many times the students, when they are coming, they don't have a proper accommodation, and there are many places where they are giving the accommodation, but they are not giving the address for the Anmeldung. And people fall in this trap and they lose money, and they are then in big trouble because this first 30 days are very important. You have to fix so many things in a very short period of time. How not to fall in such a trap legally? Like, what are the best practices you would suggest?
Honestly, there you again have to be patient. Yesterday, a client called me and she went to a WG, a shared accommodation. 3 students signing together flat.
Okay.
And if you do this, then you might get your Anmeldung. But the trap here is if 3 people have a common contract and she wants to get out of the contract, she's not able to because all of 3 of them have to terminate it together. And now she's in a trap. And don't go for the client. He bought Anmeldung on the black market, more or less. Not possible. You have to wait till you have a proper landlord investors to meet him. Even sometimes it's good if you ask him that he shares his Grundbuchauszug, that he's really the owner, and he gives you the Wohnungsgeberbescheinigung. Otherwise, and sometimes you get a fraud one, and using the fraud one might even put you on criminal investigation. So that don't go into the hurry, check it properly, and don't give any cash deposit to anyone. Always a bank transfer. I know the problem is that you often don't have a bank at that moment.
Yeah.
But this you have to stay. Worst come worst, stay 7 to 10 days in a hotel. If this is not affordable, then maybe you have to think about if Germany is affordable at all for you. Sorry to be so honest.
Correct. Have you noticed recently many such cases, like scams or people falling into this trap or something, especially Indian students?
I don't know how many cases I have at the moment. Not that I entertain all of them, but how many cases I've learned for students who are shipping goods. They have labor employment contract with a shipping company. The shipping company does not exist. They get boxes, they reship the boxes, and then they have a case because of money laundering. Because it is money laundering, you're getting money, you're sending it to the company you think, you're getting boxes, you're sending them out. That is happening more or less daily these days. That is really a big issue. And we have these flats which are not owned. And we have, unfortunately, a lot of men, especially, falling on young women who want to sell them crypto, but first they want to be charming to the man, and then there's a lot of money going on. And there are a lot of men who have spent thousands of euros in these cases.
Oh my God.
Just due to loneliness and greed, for sure. You always get I did 40% in 2 days, and a lot of youngsters even fall. They say, I'm a student. I thought this is now the time God is going to give me something back for all my efforts. Now I'm making quick money, but it is just quick loss.
Okay.
And there you should really be
cautious. Yeah. Yeah. Good. 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 This is coming from a very senior lawyer who is seeing such cases happening in Germany. So please don't fall trap in these kind of situations. It will be very difficult for you because of greed or just
And one thing I would
everything
like
that
to add
package is
regarding
not
the
good.
shipping company, regarding the shipping companies, all of you are you're very comfortable with internet and everything, but you know better than me how quickly a website is developed. So only if there's a website, that does not mean that there is a company. And that is because a lot of people telling Mr. Lugani, I checked it on the website. I think all of you can do a website within hours. And these professional shipper, they can do it also. Just that there's a website does not prove that there's a company. Maybe sometimes check handelsregister.de and check if this company really exists. And if a company does not have a number to call, and if it communicates only on WhatsApp, then it's not a company. Not true.
Yeah, very good piece of
Sorry to
advice.
have added
Yeah.
this.
I think most of the times these are like students who are falling in this trap or are prey to these kind of tactics.
The shipping cases happen to students and to the homemakers. The crypto cases mainly happen to single men, well, mainly single men. They fall into these things. And sometimes, I don't know if you ever seen it, Dr. Jen. Often these are young women and they have all these Mercedes, super dresses and everything. And then you think, okay, I also want to be as successful. And then the trap is on.
Okay. So let me quickly jump into the student rights because they are the most vulnerable, I would say. They are trusting universities, employers, and landlords many times blindly, and they are just like know somebody to somebody here, and then they just come. But they don't know many a times about their rights, like the working hours, exam appeals, housing protections. They are very vulnerable, no? And any kind of anti-discrimination laws. So a lot of stress and fear simply comes from not knowing the system. If I ask you what are the top legal protections every Indian student should be aware of before moving to Germany, or even if they are in Germany?
I would put this question a bit wider, to be honest. If I was a student in Germany and I have studied 3 subjects in Germany, the first thing is we have to learn that German universities are not like school classes. You do it, please, all yourself. Second thing, we have always, I have a lot of cases seen where people have, for the blocked accounts, they have transferred money from other people and put it on their own account. That is seen here as a criminal deed and it affects your visa and it affects your ongoing.
Okay.
To be honest, we have so many successful students in Germany from India, plenty of them. Most of them I never see, I never meet. I just meet them once they've found their own business and they grow. I see a lot of them during their studies, not a lot of them, a minority, and they come and say, Mr. Lugani, it's all unfair. And I was mentally stressed. That's why I failed. And I failed because I was an Indian. No, that is not the truth. In the end, it's you yourself. And don't be there too much on this victim field. A lot of people always want to be victims if they don't succeed. And sure, what you should do, try to be as close to the university, to the German people there, to the secretaries. Don't be arrogant to the secretary here. Here, the secretary in the universities are most important people. They will guide you. The professor will not guide you, only if you're a top talent. And
Yeah.
there you really have to see that you really integrate here. And one thing is at the moment happening. We have a lot of universities which are of minor quality. We have a lot of universities who don't have online presence. Then your visa gets into
Yeah. So
danger.
many such
We have a big
cases.
university in Berlin.
Yeah.
I won't tell the name, but there the visas are not granted because there's no online studies happening. So
Yes.
there you should be careful before choosing it. And one big request from my side: don't fall on consultants in India. They will sell you silly universities where there's not really a professor, there's no library, There's nothing. They just want to sell this studies here, and we have in Munich a university. If you graduate there, you will not find a job. Not a job for a university qualification. You will just spend money. I have one client. He told it to me. Yes, Mr. Lugani, I know it, but it is good for my. If I go back 10 years, I can tell you on the Indian wedding market, I've studied abroad. I know the quality of this education is nothing.
Yeah.
Then it's fine. But if you want to work with this qualification, forget it. Please take public universities. Don't go for private ones. Too expensive. And in Germany, if someone goes private, either it's a elite university, then it's good. But if it's a normal private university, then every company knows he was not good enough for the public one. That we smell. It's like you're going to a private school. Yeah, who goes to a private school in Germany? The very rich and those who don't qualify. No?
Yeah, very good point. But still, there are many private universities, and we can't stop them at this moment. They are running, and people are definitely coming from India and many other countries into these universities. Now, if I talk about, okay, fine, they have come here, because from their side, they did the right thing. They qualified, they met the eligibility criteria of that university, and they are here. If in such cases they are facing any kind of harassment or unfair, dealings in the academics, this is like a very general thing as well, not only private but public universities as well. Do you think at the first place, I'm seeing a smile on your face, does it mean that no, it doesn't happen? I mean, because of nationality, because of racism, there won't be any kind of discrimination in the academics? But if it happens, okay, I will put it this way. If there is any harassment, what is the German reporting system? Because right now I'm talking to a lawyer and I just want to find answers even for the edge cases, very, very rare cases. But what does the law say? What is the German law around discrimination, harassment, and reporting? What legal steps can someone take if they face discrimination in Germany, be it student or anybody else?
We have to differ here, but we have one side, we have the so-called Strafrecht criminal law, then there you can report it to the police.
Mhm.
But then the danger has to be still current or just happened. If you can put the racism into that it's an insult, then you could report it. But nothing much will happen, to be honest. Normally, police would say go to a civil court, and there we have the so-called Allgemeine Gleichbehandlungsgesetz, equal treatment. There you could fight for compensation of damages. Not really much is going to happen. Today I spent 10 hours on education, and 250 euros were granted for racism. And the salary of the person was 8,000. So I think the lawyer fees were higher than the penalty. But there's one big difference. That is the so-called Verwaltungsrecht, public law. There the equal treatment has to be done, has to be accepted. And there you could file for equal treatment. That is possible, but it's a long way. It's a long way. And
It's a long way. Okay.
and yeah. And I feel, because you saw my smile, really racism is, it is, yeah, it's becoming more. I totally agree. But if it's really judicable, that I don't know. You see it especially on the rental market, that often Indians are not selected.
Mhm.
But if this is racism, that I'm not so sure. But we come later to the topic of rental. So I'll leave it here like this.
Okay. So I'm like still I'm struggling to find a meaning out of it. So what are we saying? Are German laws strict enough against racism? Number one, yes or no?
Yes, it's good enough, the German law, for sure.
Okay. And so if somebody faces racism, should they be encouraged to report at the first place? Because most of the times we let go things. As Indians, we in general also have a habit of, okay, koi baat nahi, let it be, it's okay, you live with it. And sometimes it's even like, you ignore a few times, I would say, put it this way. But if it is more like if I'm working, if in a working environment, I'm getting such kind of treatment from a colleague again and again, not by a passerby or a driver or a fellow passenger in the bus. I mean, those things are subtle, and honestly, I mean, we are talking about it just to understand that what are the legal passages around this thing. But I have personally been here for several years. I have not observed personally, and people I talk to, nobody attests to this, that there is a visual racism in Germany, and that's such a good thing. But from a legal standpoint, what do you think? Reporting should be done or not? And what are the ways to do it?
By the way, I think racism is getting more visible in Germany just alone if you look at the rising importance of the AfD. And if you add AfD plus CDU, we are at 50% really conservative parties who are not very open for foreigners.
Yeah.
Let it go, yes. Wow, that's not easy, no? Because if you see something happening, you should report it. I was once told off by a police officer, then I told him off. Then he said that where I come from, the police officer would have already jailed me. Then I said, I also India has a legal systems and you don't talk to me like this. Then I reported it to his boss.
Mhm.
But I'm fluent in German. I did it myself. What did I gain? Nothing much. His boss said, Mr. Lugani, do you have a witness? I said, no. He said, okay, we will apologize. That's it. Okay. And I lost 4 hours of my life. But if it's in a company, not from the boss, but the boss, I would really say suffer as much as possible because it will backfire. If it's with a colleague, sure, I would address it first with the colleague and then with his boss. And then the boss has the duty to follow it. And normally the big companies also have a allgemeinen Beauftragten, and there you should report it. But always think about it 5 or 10 times. Was it really racism or not? We terminated a staff member, not me, my client, and then she asked why. And the client didn't call me before. They said, yeah, you don't match, but by the way, because your German is not so good. And it was a kindergarten. Then she went and filed a case that she was terminated due to racism.
Mhm.
Sure, my client won the case, but I told him next time you don't answer these questions. You don't tell any termination reason.
Okay.
Because that was not racism. That was just a guidance. Please, for your next job, you should learn German. Children, they don't speak English. No?
Yeah. Okay.
With racism, I'm not the biggest convinced person. Yeah, because it's hard. Is it racism or is it just a guidance? And if it's real racism, then sure, report it. And you can report at the police. You can take a civil lawyer. Yeah, but it's a long way.
So, if today's conversation saved you even one future mistake or solved one of your queries, share this episode with everyone living in Germany, students, professionals, or families. And don't forget to subscribe to Rightfully Yours for the truths we bring on this platform. This is Yojana signing off for now. मिलते हैं जल्दी तब तक नमस्ते